Thokozani Bantwana Betongo. It is me, Matapelo. I'm an indigenous prophet, and Umthandazeli. It's actually something like 12:30 now, hence I'm in my pajamas already. I've been praying for my well-being, for the well-being of my family, for the well-being of this generation, for the well-being of those who have passed, for protection, for health, for wealth, all of that. So I hope that you've done the same if you are awake, because as you know that 12 o'clock is a time where the spiritual portal opens. All right. So yes, a lot of funny things are happening at this time, but it's also a very powerful time. The heavens are open. So I'm actually having to reshoot this video, and it's a video that I had done to give some tips on people in relationships and people in marriages on how to sustain the relationship and how to make sure that it's moving on to marriage, and once it's moved on to marriage, to make sure that we are protecting our marriages, right? Okay, so as we know, a lot of bad things can happen to a marriage, so it's important that we listen to this video and please follow these advices. These are spiritual advices, and as we know, though we are in a physical form, we are all spiritual beings. So if we are not understanding the spiritual hierarchies, the spiritual principles of everything, you're going to struggle in this life. All right, so let's begin here. If you are in a serious relationship, or it's a relationship, and you're not sure whether it's going towards marriage, if it's going towards a permanent residency, let me put it like that, and you want to find out, it's not a required thing. This, what I'm saying, is not required. Once you take something to the ancestors, you better be sure you are ready for the answer. That's what I mean by it's not required. So you only take a name to Msamo once you are ready to hear their answer, because they will answer, and sometimes when they answer, you're gonna cry. So be ready. All right. So with your physical eye, you are seeing this person, you like them, things are going well, but you want to make sure when you phahla, you are going to you've got your 7 candles, you've got your sniff, you've got your pepper, right? You are now beginning your phahla. So you're going to call your people. You're calling your people maternal and paternal. And once you've called your people, you then ask for whatever you're asking for, right? And when it comes to the specific matter, you will then introduce it. You will tell them, there is somebody that's making me giggle. I'm making them giggle also. All right. So you are now respectfully telling them that you are in a relationship, and you want to know from them if this is the person that they will accept, if this is the person that is going to lead to marriage or something permanent, for those of you who don't believe in marriage, of which, yeah. Once you have done this, you are giving them the onus and the power to remove or retain the person. So because they see everything from a spiritual eye, they know if this person is taking you for a ride, or if this person is taking you down the wrong path, or they're just not the right person for you. So what might as well happen after the phahla session, in 7 days, usually it takes about 7 days to get a response. And it's not gonna be like a no or yes. Sometimes it is, but most of the times it's very drastic. All of a sudden you discover something very terrible about the person, or all of a sudden they become distant, or they dump you, or they make you so angry you dump them. So this is why it's very important that you are ready for whatever answer they give you. All right, so let's say it's a thumbs up from them. The relationship now ivutha amalangabi. Right, so most of us in modernity now, we move to bridal shower, especially this is for women. If you're gonna do a bridal shower, be sure that you protect yourself. Go to someone spiritual, like me, a prophet, or a sangoma who deals with bones, and they will strengthen you before the mcimbi. I've met people, and I do not feel comfortable in sharing the story, even if it's like as an example. But after the bridal shower, the fiance is now no longer interested. Why? Because not everybody around you is happy to see you succeed and is happy to see you happy. So there will be people bringing you gifts, and there will be people that are celebrating with you, they're smiling with you, but it's not really how they feel inside. I'll give you an example. All right, so I had a grandmother, very powerful grandmother, and not a direct grandmother, but I will call her my grandmother. And back in the days, one of my aunts was getting married. I'll call her aunt, not really an aunt. It's one of those very complicated relative situations. And because my grandmother was a prophet, right? The night that people came to bring gifts, people were bringing amatansi, amabodo, izingubo, blankets, mats, all of the things that she would need for the marriage. My grandmother came to my grandfather, my direct grandfather, my mother's father, and said to him, there is a blanket here that has been brought with bad intent. So and so has brought this blanket. Once your daughter wears this blanket on her shoulders, which she will die tonight. She will not see her wedding day. And because of those wise words from my grandmother, it saved her life. My grandfather burnt the blanket. That was kind of your traditional bridal shower, where the woman in the family that is getting married is getting gifts. So that managed to save her life. But that's an example of how far people are willing to go. People are capable of killing someone else because they say, how can someone in that family get married? Who do they think they are? I'll show them, And it's a very evil thing that we've become as human beings, but it is the reason why we need to be careful. So I'm not going to sit here and say don't have your bridal shower, but be cautious. Go and get strengthened. Right, now you are past the bridal shower, you are getting married. Now, dependent on your budget, some people can afford 3 ceremonies, some people can afford 2. Guys, there must be 3. In fact, back in the day, there was 1, which is your traditional. Now, in this day and time, if we are talking about traditional, we are talking about catering, a traditional decoration. Makoti and Kwenyana are wearing traditional attire. That is not a wedding. That is a celebration. The wedding is umhlabiso, where a cow is slaughtered. The bile from the cow is taken, and the bile is put on the wife, and they talk to their ancestors Msamo to introduce this lady to the ancestors of the husband. And this is how we bind them to say, here is Matapelo. She is now entering this homestead as a wife. She is now one of your children. Look after her. Protect this marriage. Protect her as you would protect one of the children in this family. That is very important. That bile is the one that unifies a couple, not wedding vows. Not traditional ceremony, not a marriage certificate, but it's a bile. Right. Why is it important to have this ceremony more than your white dress or your traditional wedding? Once this bile is put on you, makoti, it means that the ancestors of your husband's family are now looking after the marriage, which is very important. They are aware that you are now in the homestead, so they will protect you because now they are aware that you are part of the family, and most importantly, they will protect your marriage. Meaning, if ever the husband's eye should wander, he will not be leaving the homestead. He will return. And not only will he return, but those ancestors will retaliate against whomever is trying to break the yoke that was formed between you and your husband. And this is why it is very important to have umhlabiso. This is the reason why many marriages are failing. This is the reason why many marriages, no matter how much you can try. Ask Beyonce. If Beyonce was cheated on, who are we? So that should tell you that there's nothing physical that you can do to protect your marriage. It is all in the spirit. So an earnest woman should pray Above and beyond prayer, you know you've got the bile that is binding you together. So whomever is trying to attack that marriage will be attacked in return. This is the ultimate protection. So please do consider this. If you are a fiancé and your wedding is coming up and you've only got a budget for one wedding, make sure that you are doing mhlabiso. That is more important than your guests and the catering and whatever else, because that is what is going to be protecting your marriage. Ladies, instead of buying lingerie, be a woman of substance. It's okay to buy lingerie, but get on your knees and you pray. Because there are women who will go and see somebody and say, right, she drives a Toyota Conquest. They put a spirit in your car. You are driving back from work. There's a spirit that overturns. When you are dead, the pathology report says she fell asleep, it was fatigue, or she had a heart attack, or whatever medical reason they are going to come up with. But you, the last thing you see is darkness over your eyes, and then the car overturns. All because somebody wanted something that you have. It's unfortunate that this is the spirit that is very dominant in our society nowadays, that we cannot be genuinely happy for people. But when we see people have things that we don't, we think, why can't I have that? Your husband might be providing well for you, and some woman says, I deserve that too. So never be sitting there thinking that you have won because you are wearing a ring. Not at all. Make sure that you are doing things correctly from the ground up, and that you keep maintaining by praying. If you are fighting every now and again, think beyond, he's so annoying. People put istrito on your marriage so that when he walks inside the home, he just feels like, no, I'm returning where I come back from. That is istrito, so that there is a space. Either you leave or he leaves, and that marriage is destroyed. So there are times where you need to look beyond the physical. Go and see somebody. Hey, we are fighting every day. What is going on? They'll be able to tell you, all right, there is a darkness, there is a muti that's been used here to make you guys fight. And then they will strengthen you. They will strengthen your marriage. Strengthening your marriage is different from something like korobela. It's different from something like touch and follow, where you are manipulating someone to have feelings that they didn't have. Strengthening your marriage means that you are making sure no evil forces are able to infiltrate that marriage. This is the thinking of a smart woman. So do not leave your marriage up to magazine advices, horoscope, talking to your friends about it, complaining, fighting with your husband. Tackle it spiritually. Make sure you are doing things right from the ground up, and maintain that. If there are things that are not right in your home, and you know how your husband is, he usually makes breakfast. All of a sudden, he stops making breakfast. He's shouting every day. You're shouting every day. Everything's annoying. He's starting to smell bad. There you can see that there's foul play. Go and see somebody you trust. And they will make sure that whatever evil forces are trying to penetrate your marriage, it's not just your marriage at stake, it's your life. Because women are willing to kill to infiltrate. They are willing to, you're nothing. So consider these things, and I hope these tips are helpful. I know they definitely will help. So I hope you take a watch and you take them to heart. Tokazan.